Bam bam ba 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 da da ba 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 bum ba da bum ba dum.
You start. You start.
Da 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 da.
Okay, right.
Hello and welcome to another Cinemile. Dave here with my wife Cathy as always.
Hello.
We are on the way to Rogue One, a Star Wars story. And we are Facebook living this intro. This is pretty new for us.
It's also dark, so it's not actually a very interesting video.
It's not interesting at all.
It's the Cinemile, though.
This is
a lot
what
of
the
people have been
Cinemile...
curious how this looks like.
Yeah, and so this is what it looks like. If anyone is listening to this and can't see, head to our Facebook page / the Cinemile, and you can look at the pavement and the lights and all these things. So I'm very excited about this. I'm a big Star Wars fan. You are less of a Star Wars fan.
Yeah. I don't care about Star Wars, so I neither love it nor hate it. I'm completely neutral. And if I wasn't married to you who loves Star Wars, I wouldn't be going to see this movie.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
How much of this has been on your radar and what do you know about it?
I just know that it's not set in like the other universe of like the other movies. I mean, it's set in the universe, but it's not the same plot. It's a separate plot. And that next year a movie's going to come out that's like number 8. That's all I know.
Yeah, that's right. So how much do you know about the plot of this?
Nothing. I saw a trailer came on once in the cinema and I went to the loo.
You went to the loo deliberately?
No, I just wasn't. It was just boring. It was just like a really actiony trailer, so I didn't care about it. Yeah.
Okay, well, what it is about is it's about the plans for the Death Star that were stolen and given to Princess Leia, which sort of sets off the very first ever Star Wars movie.
Ah, so it's set.
A New Hope.
When's it set then? Between.
It's set between episode 3 and 4. Yeah, exactly. See, you do know what's
I know.
happening.
Well, I know.
You know what's going on.
I mean, you did make me watch them all.
So I am. All right. So I was not particularly excited about this movie, for the whole sort of release window. The trailers did nothing for me. I think it looked so boring and dry. It was like drier than a Christmas turkey. Relevant.
Nice.
I'm wearing a Star Wars Christmas jumper.
He is, yeah.
Anyway, I'm very excited.
And also we saw that it was the same director as Godzilla, and we thought Godzilla was like a bit of a mess.
It was a beautiful visual mess. It was beautifully visually, but the movie was a mess.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I feared was going to happen here, because certainly the visuals in the trailer...
The trailer looked awful, I thought.
Oh, no, I disagree. It looks amazing.
Oh, I thought it looked really
Like,
actiony and dark, and I don't know. I'm not into
but
it.
he's a real visual artist, but the problem is the story, Godzilla, I felt like he can't really get a good performance out of an actor. And it was just really flat and boring. And
they had a spoiler for Godzilla, but they had Bryan Cranston in a movie and killed him off after what, 15, 20 minutes?
Yes.
Which is weird.
But there were some really beautiful shots in Godzilla. There's an overhead shot when they're on train tracks, and the monster's just going underneath. Like, he's a real inventive movie maker. And he's a real interesting choice because he basically started in his bedroom two movies back. Like, he made his debut, Monsters.
His debut?
His debut. That'll be my feature film when I first make it. He did all the special effects out of his bedroom on his home computer. And then he made Godzilla, and now he's making Star Wars. So
it's the second movie?
I think so.
Do you know
Correct
what?
me, IMDb.
I have I know that I'm not going to like the style of this movie based on Godzilla and the trailer.
Yeah, I really don't think you're going to like this at all.
No. I'm it's funny. It's just so under my radar, and I've got a lot of friends who are really into Star Wars, and who've gone to I know a lot of people who've gone to fan screenings. And they're all raving about it, and I'm like, okay, fine, but I want to hear someone who's not a fan tell me what it's like, because we all know that there's, my theory anyway, is that people who saw Star Wars when they were children love it. People who saw Star Wars for the first time as an adult, like me, go, yeah, it's fine. And so far I haven't met anyone who's seen this movie who first saw Star Wars as an adult and who has a genuine neutral perspective on them.
Maybe you'll be the first. You're setting new ground.
No,
here.
I'm not. I'm just saying, apparently the first hour is not very good and then the second hour is really good, so...
But I think a lot of people are saying that the very end of this movie is not a spoiler, but it's sort of a big battle and people are raving about that, but I know you so well. You hate battles. You hate movie battles. I think you're going to be switched off and very unengaged.
I hope
for
not.
A lot of
I
this
mean, I
movie.
want to like it. I like the last one that we went to exactly pretty much this day last year.
But that's
was
the
fun.
thing, right? The Force Awakens had a lot of humour in it, and the characters were very likeable. From what I've seen of the trailers, as I said, it looks dry, it looks boring. There's no humour beats. You're kind of right in that it's got a very grey palette, and it's like they tried to land a few jokes in the trailer, and it just completely flopped from my point of view.
Who's in it? What actors? I know the guy from The Night Of is in it, who we like.
Yeah, Riz Ahmed is in it. I forget the name of the lead actress. God, I'm really bad.
She's English, isn't
We're
she?
so bad at doing research.
I know, we're really
on
bad.
the show.
Oh, and the
All we have to do is
music.
look
You
at
said the
IMDb.
music's different this time.
Oh yes, I'm very excited about the music. It's the first Star Wars movie that hasn't been scored by John Williams. It's been scored by Michael Giacchino. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He's like one of the best composers out there. Obviously, he did Lost, one of my favourite soundtracks
Yeah, I love Lost.
ever. Amazing.
The soundtrack, not the show.
No, he did the show. And he did, he does a lot of Pixar movies. He did Up and Inside Out.
He did. I love the music to Up.
Oh, beautiful.
All right, okay.
And
That's a
he
good
did
time.
Star Trek, all the Star Trek reboots, which also had great
Don't
soundtracks.
recall the music.
So yeah, I'm very, very excited about the music. So I think, look, we're nearly
Nearly there.
at the cinema, as you can see.
So summary is we've both relatively low expectations, but you want it to be amazing.
Well, this is the thing. My expectations were so low until like the last 2 days. People started seeing it and saying it's incredible.
Yeah, but remember, people said The Phantom Menace was good.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe they've got the sort of blinkers on.
Yeah.
But I was all prepared to like be surprised because my expectations were so low. But now my expectations are so high.
They're way too
that I'm
high.
prepared to be disappointed.
Yeah.
So it's like I just wish there was some sort of middle ground here where I just didn't care, but I do. I care so
to be
much.
fair, one of the people I trust most at movies is my friend Rob, who's from the Electric Shadows podcast.
Shout out
and
to Rob.
Yeah, hey Rob. He said it's really good and he'd give it 4 stars, despite a slightly bad first start. So
And Rob's also wearing a Star Wars Christmas jumper.
yeah, he's wearing a
so-
Star Wars Christmas jumper today too. So that makes me think I'd probably take a star off his review.
Oh,
Because as neutral as he tries to be, he can't really be.
sorry, Rob, you're losing stars fast
We just
here.
had our staff Christmas lunch and someone gave him Star Wars socks, and I've literally never seen anyone happier.
I get Star Wars socks every
Yeah, I
year
know.
from
And you love
your
them.
family and from my family. I'm wearing
So-
them right now.
So easy to buy for. Anyway, right, we better get off.
That's the cinema there. Okay.
Oh, and we're going to see it in 3D, which apparently is going to be really dark.
Well, yeah, it always loses. You get like 20% light loss or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
All right, okay.
See you in a
Bye.
bit.
They've no idea we're coming.
Take hold of this moment. The force is strong. Make 10 men feel like 100.
We'll take the next chance. And the next. You're rebels, aren't you?
Save the rebellion! Save the dream!
Okay, so we're just out of. What was that?
It's a bike.
Okay. Okay, so we're just out of Star Wars, Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Cathy, what did you think of that movie? We won't talk spoilers yet.
No, we won't
until
do
go into
spoilers.
spoiler stream.
Firstly, what's really interesting is that the very first time we went to the cinema, that we now go to all the time, was exactly this day last year when we went to see the last Star Wars movie. And it was such a buzz. All the staff were dressed up, the place was sold out, and it was like really fun. And when the music came on, people were clapping and all the rest of it. And there was nobody in there this night. And this is the
No.
opening night. Staff weren't dressed up. I mean, they had some like Star Wars, sweeties or whatever. And we had the entire section of the cinema we were sitting in. We were the only people in it. For
Empty.
like 10 rows of seats, maybe. We were the only people in that section.
I would say that cinema wasn't even 10% full.
No, it was. It's been
was.
busier. Like when we went to Bridget Jones, for example, it was completely packed that night. So I just thought that was an interesting observation, and I think it's because obviously the last time everyone had been waiting so long for a movie, and it was like Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher, and it was really exciting. So anyway, that was initially I was like, oh, and then like the opening scene was really cool. I was like, this is really, really good opener. I'm really like sold on this. And then it kind of whizzed through loads of stories really quickly. And then actually by the end I just thought, do you know what? This is bullshit. This isn't a standalone story at all. This is just a prequel.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
I completely agree with you.
I couldn't follow it. Luckily no one was sitting next to us because I just had to keep asking Dave what was happening. I was like, I don't understand what's happening.
Which I think is proves that this movie does not work without any knowledge of the Star Wars universe.
And that's what I was excited about, because I thought, oh well, for once I'll actually go to a Star Wars movie and be on the same playing field as someone else. Nah, was not. Couldn't follow it. Didn't know who anyone was. And like, don't get me wrong, I don't think it was like terrible or anything. It was like a completely like bog standard movie. It reminded me a little bit actually of the Star Trek movie we saw this summer, in just that it's like a couple of elements that were good, but just a big jumbled mess, and then this big mission they all have to reach at the end, which was really similar to the mission at the end of Star Trek.
I actually disagree with you.
Oh.
I think that movie was terrible, and I think the Star Trek movie was much better.
You think Star Trek was better than this? Well, you thought Star Wars was terrible.
I'm saying I think this movie that we just saw was terrible.
Oh.
And I think the Star Trek movie was a lot more fun.
Oh, it was more fun. This was no fun.
No
I'm surprised
fun.
you thought it was terrible, though.
I think I'm going to use the word terrible. I think
I
it was
thought
zero
it was, like,
lols.
bog standard.
Look, I'm maybe being a little bit harsh on it. I mean, okay, first of all, I'll say what I did like. I think there were some visuals in this which were absolutely stunning and really well done.
Yeah, look good.
But I'll talk about more of that in spoilers.
The 3D was crap. Waste of money.
Complete waste of money.
Yeah.
Added nothing. In fact, just took away from most of the movie. The first 2/3 of the movie were just grey and dark and very hard to see in 3D. I don't remember a single moment where I thought that looked really good in 3D.
I kept forgetting I was watching 3D, except that my glasses were kind of smudgy and annoying, which reminded me I was watching it in 3D.
Added nothing. Oh, can we say we should tell what happened with my 3D glasses? So I keep, because I'm such a scab. Because I'm such a scab, I keep 2 pairs of 3D glasses in my
Well, that's not being
my
a scab.
bag.
That's actually better for the environment.
Yeah, okay, that's better for the environment, because they charge you £2
but they're just
a go for them. But because they've been in my bag for so long, they're completely smudged and ruined.
Yeah, so I couldn't see out of mine.
so I was like, fuck this. So I went down back to the counter before the movie started and pretended that I'd just been given that pair and that they were really smudged. And so I complained. And then she gave me a direct swap with them.
Okay, first of all, you should be embarrassed that you did that. You should be embarrassed that you're telling people about it. And thirdly, what this is proving is how boring the movie is, that you'd rather talk about
I would
your glasses.
genuinely rather talk about that. But no, because that cinema, first of all, is a complete shithole. Shout out to...
Don't shout out to it, come on. We go there at least once a week.
I'm sorry.
We cannot trash that
If
place.
anyone from that cinema is listening, you are... I fucking hate you so much. The queue... There was no queues. There was no staff. There were no queues. This should be one of the busiest nights of the year. Admittedly, as you said, it wasn't. They had 2 people behind the desk. The queues were like... all over the place. I guess that's the people's fault.
Okay, Dave, again, you're detracting from the movie review.
No. Can we point out the fact that the cinema smelled of dog shit?
Do you know what? I was
so
bored.
distracted
so
by the
bored.
smell of dog shit, which I couldn't tell was it the movie or the smell. Right? No. It was the floor.
Can we get back to the movie review? I'm really tired. I've had a really long week of work and I want to finish this. Can we just go to Spoiler Street?
All right.
Yeah, right.
Let's turn on to Spoiler Street.
Spoiler Street. Can I just say...
Spoiler Street starting now.
It is completely callous, completely pointless, and completely just cashing in what they did, because they basically made a movie knowing full well that they were going to kill every single character by the end of it. Like, what is the point of that? Like, genuinely, alright, there we meet them, they get one plan and now they're all dead anyway. Like, she barely got to see her dad, which was the only emotional thing that I was rooting for in the movie.
Also, no emotion there.
No, actually, I do have to say I cried when he died.
Really?
But I'm more probably crying at a bored and ending. But yeah, I just thought, oh, so this is it then, they're just all going to die. And I was so confused by the plot, because I thought that they were going to blow up the Death Star, until Dave explained to me they were going to pick up plans.
But this is exactly it. You, like, without having seen Star Wars: A New Hope, even though you have seen it, but you just
I
don't
don't
remember it and don't care. Like, why wouldn't you think they were going to go blow up the Death Star?
Yeah.
You didn't like.
Why would you have a whole council meeting and then in the end say, no, you cannot go and steal those plans? It's like, well, who cares if they want to go and steal those plans?
Here's my fundamental problem with this movie. And it's the problem with most prequels, and it was the problem with the Star Wars prequels. We know
this is better than those movies, though. This is better than like the Phantom Menace.
Marginally, I would say. And I'll get into that in a sec. I think the problem with the prequels is we know exactly what the outcome is. So there is it removes all jeopardy from anything.
Why couldn't she? I don't understand why they had to kill her off. Why did the movie have to end with them dying? Like,
I'll tell you.
Callous.
I'll tell you why they had to kill them off. Because not a single one of them was memorable in any way, and I'm glad they all died because they were all boring as fuck.
I know, I liked
the robot was the droid.
I liked the droid.
Was quite enjoyable.
I liked some of them. I just didn't think, like, from her perspective. I thought she was a pretty decent character. I don't know why. I just thought it was just a cheap, nasty trick to just kill her off at the end for absolutely no reason.
But
like,
it was realistic, though. I actually I don't have a problem with that. I think it was a suicide mission. They gave up everything for the cause. I disagree. I think that was one of the things I actually liked about it.
And my worst part, my biggest part of the whole thing that really annoyed me was the fact that her dad, who I love the actor, and he was probably the best thing in it.
Mads Mikkelsen, yeah.
But the fact that
he did add a bit of pathos.
Yeah, but he built the bloody Death Star. He's a monster. Oh, he built something to destroy it that was so difficult.
Yeah, but he had to do it for some reason.
Yeah, but it was so
instead
difficult.
of just killing himself.
Why didn't he just, when he was making the hologram, show her the plan and say, this is where you need to go in the hologram?
Because
why did he make her go to the city?
Because you have to download, you have to get a giant, like, solid drive state from a machine. Like, I did kind of like, okay, I will say what another thing I did like. I liked the whole sort of third act. I thought it was all played out very well. I loved the beach setting. I loved the ground battle.
Nice.
The space battle was really well done.
No, that was so boring. At one point I was like, can I check my phone? Did you think that it was the exact same plot as the end of Star Trek, where they had to go and transmit a sound of bees? Remember that?
The sound of bees. It was the sound of the Beastie Boys. Spoiler alert
sorry,
for
but
Star
they were
Trek.
doing it to, like, make people. There was something to do with bees. I can't remember what it was.
Bees?
Yeah,
there was a swarm.
Yeah,
is that why
was
you're thinking of bees?
That.
Anyway,
but
why do you keep
plot,
talking about?
Because the end of Star Trek is them going up to transmit that, and then two of them having a massive fight out on a deck. And that's exactly what happened in this movie. It was literally the same end scene.
Except that Star Trek was fun. Not a single one of these characters had any bit of fun in them. Star Wars is supposed to be an adventure. It's supposed to be a romp. And fine, look, I'm okay with them telling different stories and using different tones and different genres.
But it's not a different story. It's just a prequel to number 4.
That's exactly the problem. It's one of my biggest problems with the prequels was that it was just they were just fan service, particularly the end of Revenge of the Sith, the third one. It's just throwing in all these little like nods, and this is how C-3PO and R2-D2 end up on this ship.
Did you see them? And they were in this movie for a second.
Yeah. But this is exactly my point. Who cares? Why put them in for a second? They have an entire universe that they could make any story about, and yet they choose to tell a story immediately before the other story.
That's what I don't understand.
Just so they can just show Princess Leia at the end for 2 seconds and have Darth Vader in it for no reason.
So I thought Darth Vader was fun.
Yeah, but it's not. It wasn't fun. It was just pointless.
No, but within the context of the movie, it was fun to have Darth Vader. I can't believe I'm defending it. But within the context of the movie, I just thought, oh, well, at least he's here now, because I was confused, because I was like...
Why?
Because I didn't understand at the start, I didn't get that it was... Like, I didn't understand watching it that it was set right before the next movie. So at least when Darth Vader came in, it gave me some context, because until that point, I was, like, confused.
You thought that Forest Whitaker was Darth Vader?
Yeah, I didn't know what was happening. Because he had, like... He was like a robot with the breathing mask.
Can we talk about Forest Whitaker?
Oh my God.
What was he doing? I mean, I like that Forest Whitaker, like, he makes choices and he sticks with them.
He is out of control.
Whatever the hell he's doing. But what was his character supposed to be? What was his speech pattern all about?
He was from a panto.
When at the very end, when he when he tells her, or first of all, he dies for no reason. He could have easily just left with them, but instead
they all died for no reason.
No, go, Jin, you go.
I didn't even get why. Okay, so he's turned into this kind of half man, half panto villain who walks around and has no legs. They're made of like machines.
I liked his robot
and he's got
legs.
a Darth Vader mask, an oxygen thing, inexplicably. So I thought he was Darth Vader, and then I was confused because I remembered in the prequels he was played by somebody who was white. So I was like, but I know it's James Earl Jones' voice. So I didn't understand what was happening. Yeah.
So you were confused because you knew it was a white actor and a black voice.
And then
And
Forest
you thought
Whitaker
Forest
was dressed
Whitaker
like him.
was him.
I did like when we saw, and I don't remember if we've ever seen this in another Star Wars movie. I liked when Darth Vader was coming out of his weird like bath thing. Have we seen that before?
Yeah, we have.
Oh, right, okay. Damn, I thought at least that was something different.
That's the problem with this movie, Cathy. We've seen this all before, with the exception of some very inventive battle scenes.
They weren't inventive. I've seen that battle scene.
I guess not inventive, but there were some beautiful shots in there. It was all very well presented. But I think this is a fan-made film with an enormous budget. There was nothing new or interesting here.
Because if they're all going to be dead, and if they're all dead now, we're never going to see them again. I'm just like, what was the point of that movie?
I completely agree. What was the point of that movie? I don't care. I don't care how they fucking got the plans. Tell
It doesn't matter. Yeah, it's like we know they got the plan.
different story that has stakes, has an outcome that we'll care about, and has characters that we can care about.
And could it not have had an outcome that surprised us? Like, it's halfway through the movie I turned to you and said, wait, so they're all going to die at the end of this movie?
Yeah, and I said probably.
Yeah, because when you said, oh no, they're going to steal the plans. And I was like, wait a second, I don't understand it. If they steal the plans but then they don't blow it up in the next movie, they must die in this movie. So, like, I'm watching a movie knowing they're all going to die. So then I thought maybe they'd surprise us and maybe they wouldn't. Or at least, like, one of them would survive.
But honestly,
But
either way...
they just all died grisly death.
Either way, who cares? Because can you tell me, like, any of those character names and tell me, like, two distinct things about them?
I liked the guy from The Night Of. I thought he was good, the pilot.
Yeah, Riz Ahmed, good actor. He was good in it.
He's probably the best thing in it.
But what was, like...
And then halfway through watching
what was
this...
that character? What were any of those characters?
I liked the main girl, I actually liked her. I don't remember her name, but I liked her.
No, I thought she was a nothing character. I thought the other guy was a nothing character. The droid had didn't like him at first. He had a couple of good lines. The two Asian guys, well, firstly, great that we're seeing such a diverse cast, but they were just stupid characters.
No, I liked them. I liked the Jedi guy.
God, I don't know why I hated everything so much.
It's because do you know what? You shouldn't have heard any of the reviews over the last 2 days.
No, but even if I just, like, Guardians of the Galaxy was a better Star Wars movie than that. Why can't... And look...
But do you think if you'd gone and see... Because we went to see this, right, in, like we said, a really crap environment for it. Whereas last year we were actually
literally
both pumped
covered
and it
in
was fun.
dog shit.
No, but I think if you'd possibly gone to, like, a screening and it was
full
of Star Wars crowds and, like, everyone had been really into it and, like, laughing along with it, you might have enjoyed it a bit more.
I disagree. Listen back to the beginning of this. I was pumped. I'm well pumped. I'm wearing a Star Wars Christmas jumper. And look, I have no problem with people who got a kick out of that and loved it. Because
I'm glad you've no problem with them. I'm sure they'd be pleased to know that.
Because it worked for them and that's great, and maybe that's, what they want from a Star Wars film. They want a little bit more somberness and a serious edge, but not me. I think Star Wars is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be an adventure. It's supposed to be a romp. And I know Force Awakens has its critics, and I think Force Awakens has problems in that it largely, it's not original either, and I wish they would tell some better stories, in a broader universe, and it was just a template. But hey, that movie was having a lot of fun. Like,
you know what my main thing was? I kept thinking, because I was so bored, I was getting, like, really distracted. I was thinking back to my theory of, like, people who watched it as a kid love them, and I thought if you showed this movie to a kid and they'd never seen any of the other ones, a young kid would honestly walk away from the TV, because they wouldn't be able to follow what was happening. They wouldn't be able to engage with any of the characters. There's no humour. There was, like, no colour or life.
I had the exact same thought. Like, there are so many memorable moments from the first Star Wars. Moments, not to mention characters. Han Solo is an iconic, fun
they
character.
Can never beat him.
Chewbacca, like Obi-Wan Kenobi, and they're all sort of just they're archetypes. But, like,
even the droid in the last one was fun.
Yeah, the
he
little cute little BB-8. You've got Finn, who's just like wisecracking. Him and Rey have great chemistry.
Yeah, and I remember that halfway through this movie as well, as I was getting distracted. I remembered, wasn't it cool in the last movie the way they had a stormtrooper and we saw behind them, because they're just always these. All stormtroopers is like just this endless cannon fodder, which makes them really boring. So it was cool in the last movie that they did something a bit different with that.
Can we also acknowledge just how boring that movie was.
Yeah.
Like, I was so bored. I was checking my watch. Like, the first half of it was just endlessly pointless. It was just they were trying to get the team together, and I didn't care about the team.
They should have watched, can I just say, obviously I'm like the massive expert on this, but what I think they should have done is told a much smaller story with much fewer people, and it would have been really nice, and just set completely differently from the high, like, massive top end, like Darth Vader. This is like the biggest, most Death Star related story. It should have been just a small story set in a town somewhere else, and it would have been really cool. And that's actually what I thought I was going to see.
That is exactly what I'm saying, and it's exactly what I want. I want like, stop trying to. This movie and the world today is obsessed with nostalgia to the point where they need to have Darth Vader in it and Princess Leia and Peter Cushing. Can we talk about the fact that Peter
that was
Cushing
freaky.
is in this movie even though he's been dead for 20 years?
It's funny because I didn't know, because I didn't remember him from the other movie, but I was like, God, that guy looks weird. And then you were like, he's dead.
The CG was, it's like almost there. He looked pretty convincing, but around the eyes, it's a bit sort of Tom Hanks in the Polar Express. There was.
But why did they do it?
Creepy.
And my question was, would they have his consent to do that? Like,
well,
they don't have his consent because he's dead.
His consent.
So do they get it from, like, his spouse or his children? And I guess, look, if he's a massive fan of the movies, and maybe it's something that his family know, he wouldn't have minded. But I was like profoundly disturbed to be watching a dead man on screen when you told me that. As soon as you told me that, I had the shivers. He was so gaunt. It was weird.
But that's exactly how he looked in 1977. Like, it's bang on.
And again, this proves my point that it's just a prequel, because all they're trying to do is tie it into the fourth movie by doing that.
Exactly. The whole end of that movie was just obsessed with, look, and this is how they got the disc onto the ship that you saw in the 1977. Like, I don't care. Tell a complete story that has a beginning and a middle and an end, and isn't just filling in dots we didn't need filled.
And also, can I just say that we need to wrap up because I'm really tired, but I just thought Rogue One was like the lamest name ever, and it was really lame the way they came up with it in the ship. And I know you said there was some meaning behind it.
Well, Rogue Squadron is a famous thing in the Star Wars series, and this is how they formed. So that's why.
But how did it just come to him to call the name Rogue One?
Well, he had to think of something, didn't he?
Yes, it just seemed really lame.
But again, that was like in the moment in Ghostbusters when they come up with their symbol and all these kind of things. It's like.
But can I just say that, like, I think, first of all, I agree with everything you're saying in the movie, but I think you're possibly being overly critical, because I just think it's a complete, like, 2.5 out of 5 movie.
I'm applying a lot of passion into this. Yeah, 2 out of 5. It's like, because it's
2.5 out of 5.
It's a completely competent movie. The guy knows how to direct.
Well, you say competent. I disagree, because I think it's only competent if you've seen the other movies. But you can say that about any movie in a series. But they called what's it called again? Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Like, their promise is that you can watch this as a standalone. So they've actually reneged on their promise. Like, at least with the other ones, you know they're a sequel, and like, that's fine. I accept that it's a sequel. But this one, I was told it was a standalone.
Yeah, because if you're missing the broader context of the universe, and you're missing the pieces between sort of episode 3 and episode 4 in particular, then a lot of that just would not land for you. And there was a lot of little footage. I liked that they threw in sort of characters who fly up against the Death Star. I told you there were other sort of actors from 1977 who'd been face planted or whatever that so weird, technology is. But we were just saying, what does this mean, like, for the movie industry now that you can just pluck dead actors and put them in your movies? Like, that's opening up a weird can of worms, isn't it? I mean, it's one thing with, like, taking Carrie Fisher's face or whatever,
but he was already committed to being in the movie, I guess. But we saw it in that. What movie did we see it in again? In Iron Man, when he was like Robert Downey Jr. Like, he was like 20.
But that's a different thing. That's the act you're mapping.
And Anthony Hopkins in Westworld.
Yeah, and that technology is very interesting, and I'm impressed by that.
Yeah, but the dead thing freaks me out.
Yeah, there's no consent there.
Right, so we need to give, like, so first of all, given you've seen every Star Wars movie, what, like 100 times? You know you're going to watch this again, or are you going to tell me right now you're never going to watch it again on principle?
No, I think I will. Well, I was thinking about this in the cinema. I said I do not have a desire to watch that again. I really did not think that was a good movie, and I didn't enjoy it. So,
but I think you need to give yourself a break, right? Because you love the franchise, and like go back in a year or two, and with a friend who's into Star Wars, make a night of it and see if you enjoy it that way.
yeah, I think so too. Now that I know what to expect, I think I will give it a second chance. And I'm being particularly down on it just because I am so passionate about the series, and I didn't enjoy it, so I'm funneling that passion into negativity and hatred. I'm giving into the dark side.
Yeah, you are giving into the dark side. Also, can I just say that the blind Jedi guy, right? I actually really liked it.
He wasn't a Jedi, see.
But he had been a Jedi, but they'd like taken all his lightsaber from him or whatever.
I don't think he was.
Oh.
But again, like none of that was clear.
But I like the battle.
He was a bad actor.
I liked the battle scene where he was able to fight like using his sound. I thought that was fun. But yeah, he wasn't a bad actor. He just had really bad lines.
But like, we've seen that in Daredevil. We've seen this a million times. That he had really bad lines and he was a bad actor. Like
all the lines, the dialogue was bad. It wasn't as bad as the prequels though.
Here's an example. Like they had that sort of telepathic weird alien thing that you thought was Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah, I was like, oh, Jabba the Hutt's in this.
That's
I kept
an example.
looking for things from the other movie.
That's an example of something new we've never seen before, and I thought, oh, that's interesting.
And then it was in for 2 seconds.
2 seconds and it's gone, and then the rest is just. Oh, it's the Empire. Even when they go to new planets in this, none of the planets were interesting. It's just the same. It's just one topological feature on the planet. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, this one's a beach. Hey, that's new. You guys have never seen a beach before. There's a whole universe of planets. Do you remember Guardians of the Galaxy where they had a planet which was like a dead alien's giant head?
No.
It's like, that's inventive.
Yeah, look, this wasn't inventive. But can I just say, like, my final view on it is that Disney have killed it now, because if there's going to be one every year, that is so dull. Like, forever. As far as we know, there's going to be a Star Wars movie every year, right? Every second year is part of the series. Every second year is, I say standalone in inverted commas because they're not standalone clearly. So, and we know the next one's going to be about Han Solo, right? So it's not standalone. Yeah, I'm just like, oh, they've killed it now. It's dead. And like, you know,
they're playing it way too safe.
Yeah. Why though? Like, it's so funny because I was talking to somebody in work today and they didn't even know there was a Star Wars movie out. I just thought, oh, that's very interesting. Because it's not a real Star Wars movie. Everyone knows it.
But look, I think these standalone movies are just going to be hit and miss.
I'd like to watch the Han Solo one though. I think that'd be a bit of fun. Then they should have just launched with that one. Like, I don't know why they launched with this one. And all the fanboys who were saying it's the best movie ever, I can't wait for them to like hang their head in shame like when they watch it again and they've kind of excitement just cooled off.
What about this movie?
Yeah,
I don't know.
The reviews are way too positive. Like, as I said, it's grand. Like, but
I think my suspicion is with this movie, it's that sort of. I think this probably is really hitting the mark for a lot of people, and I think
it is. I've heard people say it.
No, but I think in the same way that sort of people like that sort of grim seriousness of The Dark Knight, for instance.
But it wasn't serious enough either, though. It was like neither here nor there.
It was neither here nor there, and that's our review.
Yeah,
put that on the poster.
But that's true, though, isn't it? It wasn't funny enough or somber enough or original enough or.
But what I'm trying to say is some people are just satisfied with big battles and grey visual blandness. They really are. Honestly, and this is not a criticism of anyone who enjoyed this movie. If you enjoyed it, kudos to you. But I want colour and fun and excitement and big loud music. The score didn't even do anything for me.
I need to say, sorry, we're literally home now and we're going to bed, but I thought the score was shit and I was so disappointed because I actually liked the original music, and you told me it was the guy who did Up, which is probably my favourite music of all time, and I just thought he didn't deserve any of the moments. And I know it wasn't his fault that like the movie was boring, but like the moments where there was numerous moments where the score was just, you know, going like all cylinders and it was so dramatic and it was like for nothing. It was completely unwarranted, the music.
Look,
they didn't deserve a moment.
I didn't notice the score at all, but then the score needs to lift character and emotion and writing, and when the two work well together, as they did in Lost, I think, because Lost, for all its problems,
You lost.
had a lot of problems, but it had great music and great characters, and that had some magical moments. You remember, like I still tear up thinking about the Constant, that episode with Penny and Desmond when they're time.
Yeah, that was beautiful. But listen, we're way off topic now. We're talking about Penny and Desmond because that was more interesting than this. So yeah, I'm sorry if you didn't enjoy it more. It was exactly what I expected.
I didn't enjoy it at all. I got a few moments where I thought, oh, that was cool. There was some cool moments in there. Some cool, fun
At least
bits.
it wasn't that long. That's all I have to say on the matter. Because I'm so tired. At one point, I genuinely thought I might fall asleep. Yeah, sorry.
You can follow us on Twitter at the Cinemile, or we're on Facebook at the Cinemile. Let us know what you thought, and maybe we'll put a poll up because I'd be quite interested to hear what our listeners thought of Rogue One. I'll put that up for the next week or so as you guys start watching it.
Yeah.
And
hopefully the next movie we see is a bit more fun. Hopefully it might be that Jennifer Lawrence one. That looks good.
The Passengers one with her and Chris Pratt. Yeah, I've been avoiding all trailers for that because it looks like sort of sci-fi concept. I like knowing nothing about those things. So yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, I'm in as well.
All right.
Bye.